Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Gardens Grow. Today is April the 24th and my head is just reeling with all the things I still need to do in the garden. But I finally got a chance to do some more shopping, and of course plants were first on the list because I still have lots of pots and places where I need something else, and I wanted to get another of the lemony lime color barberry because mine died and I had it for several years, so I missed it. And I think my pampas grass actually shaded it out, so I got another one. I'm not sure where I'm going to put this, but it's going to be welcome in my garden. It's wherever I can find a place for it, actually. And we didn't get home last night until about 9:30. So my plants, the other plants that I got yesterday, are still in the car. So I'm anxious to get those out. But I also got some things like, I have 2 birthday parties I'll be going to shortly. Not today, but soon. And I told you about my niece that had to have she had breast cancer and had to have surgery, and now she's wearing a turban. I don't think I told you that part, but I'm telling you that part because I found her granddaughter is turning 2, and I found the cutest little girl turban, and I'm going to try to get her picture made with her grandmother with both of them in their turban. So that was exciting. Also found some cute little outfits for her, and I'm anxious to get to go to that birthday party, and I hope she liked everything. I wanted to get her a cap too. That was one thing I had in mind to do, and some flip-flops. So she's the one I told you is the beginning of me and my sister's 4th generation of girls, and so we're excited about that. And just can't beat a grandchild, but just you get a great grandchild. It just keeps on going. My mother says they just get better and smarter and prettier as it goes on, and I think God has a hand in that. So I've got so much to do, though. Like I was saying, this little pot has some seed in it. I don't see any of them coming up yet. And we're supposed to get rain maybe tomorrow, but tomorrow night we have a better chance. These little pots have nothing as far as seed in them, and that may be a weed. I'm not sure what's in this one. But I want to get these filled with seed. And I've got some picked out for them, but I don't really know when I'll get around to actually putting them in there. But hopefully soon. It would be great to get them in there before our good rain tomorrow night and let them get rained in good. So I also purchased a butterfly for my sister that loves butterflies, and it was just so pretty. It caught my eye first thing, and I thought, oh, that's so pretty. I would love to have that. And I thought, but if I did get that would belong to my sister Kathy. So I stopped by, and I was actually so tired I wouldn't have stopped, but since I had that little gift for her, naturally I just had to stop. She's the sister that will actually get something for you, put it in your garden, and then go away and let you just find it. Now me, I'm the type that, well, gosh, I got that for you, and I just got to see your face light up when you see it. So that's what I did. But it was fun to stop there, and her yard was full, literally full of roses, blooming roses, and a snowball bush. And here's my snowball bush. But hers was beautiful too, and it was just great to actually get to stop for a minute. But I don't think by that time, not even that could revive me for very long. I was so tired last night when I finally made it to bed around 1:15. And I took Susie her dichondra, and I also got her a little blue flower, or a big blue flower stake, and I told her it was for my true blue friend. So, and then I also got myself this pretty little bird stake. Also, I purchased this is one of the things I was actually going for, was this little obelisk to go with my little pink rose. So maybe it'll have something to climb up when it gets bigger. And I think it just looks prettier in that pot with a obelisk in the pot. Also, this morning I'm noticing I have a beautiful white trimmed in yellow iris. I also found a African violet for my sister Rosie, and I give the violets to her because I have no luck with them. I may try them again someday, but right now I've got more than what I can handle. So, and she does so well with them. But this one was a little different color green. It's the lighter green, not quite as bright as this green, but it is this color, just a darker shade of this color, this Creeping Jenny color. And it has a variegated flower, mostly white, trimmed in a blue violet. And I'm noticing that my little alyssum that I transplanted, it's fading out. You know, it's wilting. That's what it's doing, wilting. So what I'm going to do right now is trim off this old flower because it's trying to heal itself. And when I take that off, I think this little green part will go ahead and really heal itself and take off and go and be there next year to bloom again. That's my hope. And I noticed that actually everywhere I put them, they're kind of wilty. They would pick themselves up anyway, but that flower is not going to last much longer anyway this year. But it'll be back and we can enjoy it next spring. There, I think they'll have a much better chance now to build their little roots strong and be ready for next spring. They may not look quite as good, but I think it won't be long till they'll look much more healthier. So my little roses are not yet blooming like my sister Kathy's were, but you can see lots of little buds. It won't be long till they will be blooming. Look at this pretty brown and white iris. I love it. These are very pretty too, but honestly, let me get this old dead one off so it'll look prettier still for you. Let me get this one off too while I'm at it. This is very pretty too, as I was saying, but also I do like the white one better, which is surprising to me even, because I really like this one too. Yellow is one of my favorite colors, or they're all my favorite colors, but that might be right at the top of the list maybe. And Susie had an amaryllis just fixing to bloom. It hadn't opened all the way up yet, but it will before she sees this. I think it's just beautiful. I had quite a few here and I divided and gave a lot of them away. So I'm going to have to wait till it grows a bit and proliferates a bit so that I can give some more away maybe. Lots of pretty blooms in the garden and more roses that are thinking about opening up. And some of them are going to be the pretty orange that I really wanted now, not all, because this is on the same stalk. I'll have to cut this off and try to keep it this pretty orange as long as it will before it goes back to its root where it was hybridized from, which is the old rose. And pretty yellow baptisia, some more of that pretty dark iris, and of course the blue spires of the catmint. One of my favorite times in the garden is when the peonies and the roses bloom. Of course, it doesn't hurt if a few iris or any other of the beautiful blooms are just thrown in there too. Oh, and this little peony is also blooming today. Now this is probably my second favorite because Ebola Beauty is just got to be my first. But this one is just this beautiful. Oh, I love it. It's called Do Tell. And isn't it a beauty? And I also, of course, love this little tufted one that's single on the outside and then just a big fluffy tuft in the center. I missed being out here yesterday because I was shopping in the city, but oh my, lots of things opened. How pretty. And I've been thinking I'm going to put something tall in this little pot, if I can find something that I think will grow there so that it will stand up and not be hidden by all this pretty Diana or Princess Diana clematis. And I can enjoy both of them. I had little plants in here for the forever, but I'm going to try some taller ones so that we can just, I just think it's going to look better. I'm going to give it a try and see if that will work. Well, also I'm just now noticing, I knew I had a little bloom here, but it's a big bloom now, and I've got several little blooms there beside it. These little roses are beginning to open up, and this one has really opened up a lot since the day before yesterday when I checked on them. And of course, these are some of the pots that I'm anxious to fill, so there'll be a pretty background to the roses and other perennials in the garden. And some of those flowers that I just showed you in plants will definitely be used to put in these pots too. I want to get these all filled up because I don't know, I just don't really like an empty pot. I want it full of beautiful blooms. And look, not only do we have one, we have 3 of these beautiful Itoh or Itoh, however you pronounce that, beautiful peonies. And I see that my little single rose has opened up. There were a few scraggly ones on there that were still beautiful, but now it's pretty full of pretty blooms. And we're supposed to have nice weather for a little over a week at least, that's what we can see in our forecast. And I'm excited about that because I think it's a good time to start bringing plants outside, that some of the house plants, where they can get acclimatized hopefully without it being something that'll just destroy them, because you know, a exceeding wind, and we may have some of that, but the winds, when it gets way too hot and stays there too long, or if it drops down really cold when they're still newly brought out, all that can be detrimental to them. But I think it's time to get started and see what will happen with them. And I'm seeing that I'm going to have to replace at least one of these white impatiens. I want this to be full and lush and beautiful, and I'm almost sure that was a snail that's made this one look so puny. This one looks a little bit puny too. I'm going to have to spray that again. And I was telling you about this blue anchusa, that it has little blue blooms that look like a forget-me-not, and it is in the forget-me-not family, but it's a tall plant. But look, here they are, those sweet little blue blooms. More places where the impatiens are taken out probably by snails. I haven't seen them there, but that looks like the damage they do. Look, these are still going, thank God. Hopefully they will. This one, they're just not. And I don't know what happened to this little coleus. It was a pretty one, but I don't know if any of it's going to live or not. Let me get some of the dead stuff off of it so it won't be trying to heal all the dead stuff, and it may be able to pick up some of this and go. That would be great. Today is April the 25th, and yesterday I had sort of a piddle day and yet a very busy day. It's just that I did so much and you can hardly tell anything that I did right now, but eventually you will, because I put some of my clippings from the window out here in little pots, and they'll be scraggly, and we'll see if they'll even make it, because you know they have to acclimatize. And although this is going to be a good week to try that for them, because it's not supposed to get too terribly hot or too terribly cool, and I'm not sure about the winds, because those winds can take them out just as quickly. But we will see what will happen to these little ones. At least there's a chance that this might be a beautiful plant one day. Right now they're just a little scraggly piece, but eventually they can come into their own. I've had them to do it, so I know it's possible. But a lot of my plants, even the ones from the nursery, look at this. This is pitiful, and it will not come out of this. Most likely it will not. I'll trim it down and see, but I don't have hardly any luck at all with them when they start going like that. So we'll see, and I don't really know what causes that. It could be a form of a transplant shock, but I just don't know. But you see the one right behind it there is looking fine, but this one is not, and this one in front is looking great, still blooming even. So, but we'll just have to see. And it's true that I'll have to change out a lot of them, especially my little impatiens, because so many of them the snails they just love them. They have that tender, juicy, little watery stem, and they just love them. So I did spray them hoping that would keep them away, but it didn't keep them away from all of them. So we'll just see how that will go. And also today is probably just a little sample of what summer's going to be like, because it is actually hot out here. Even with the wind blowing, it's like a hot wind, and it's not comfortable to be out here. But I do want to get some things planted. We did not yet get the rains that were forecast, but there's still a chance for tonight. So I'm hoping we get a good soaking rain, get the ground all soft, that I can plant some bulbs and do some of the things I'm hoping to get done. And my little plants are dying out of this one too. This is a pretty blue days. It's in the Morning Glory family, has a pretty little blue bloom on it, and then all around it I planted the coral, the extreme coral impatiens, but they are gone. They died. Matter of fact, I went ahead and planted. I had another hosta come in too. Actually, there's one in this pot also. This one was called Paul's Glory, and this one right here is called I can't remember the name of it, but it's also called a drinking gourd hosta. So it is a hosta, and it has a pretty form that cups up and catches the rainwater and such. So hopefully it will be very pretty here. I don't know if they'll make it here or not, but I certainly hope they do. I have had such good luck so far with my hostas. These are also new, this one and this one, but you can tell these are not new. These have been here for quite some time, and they have come back year after year. And so I'm hoping that I'll get some more established that will do that same thing, and that one spring I'll come out here and look and I'll say, well, I don't have to get any hostas because they all came back and they all look gorgeous. That's my plan. That's always my plan. And things are looking a bit wilty because we didn't get our rains. I splashed a little bit of water on this and oh my goodness, look. Well, I've got to water. That's what I was going to say. I've got to water, but look over here. This was filled also with the pretty coral, extreme coral impatiens, and I know they would have looked great with this little coleus, but they are gone. They look so pathetic, and I'm pretty sure that's where some snails had a feast all night long, and they'll be back until they're totally gone or I'll pull them out. But I will want to try this again. I've just got to find a way to keep those things off of them and give them a chance. Once they get going good, they're not quite so susceptible to the snails, but they still will get in a cluster and just kill them out if you don't keep a continuous watch over them and continue to spray them for snails. And actually roly-polies too are very bad to just take a plant out, you look at it and you think, well, that looks a little wilty, and then you'll go over to kind of check it out, and the thing that'll be wrong is it is no longer connected to the root. It's just sitting there where they chewed it off right at the end of the stem, and it most usually does not come back. And I didn't get any of my little nursery plants planted. I planted just a few things, and actually there's a hosta in the front part of this one, but it's not showing up. It may not show up. I hope it does, but I've had them to do that before, so we'll just have to wait and see what will happen. But I hope it will still come up and do all right there. But the reason I went ahead and planted some of these was because they came in just a plastic, and I did not want those to rot. I wanted those to have a good chance. So I did go ahead and put those in, even though I was very busy with other things yesterday. This is one of the little hostas right here. It's called spearmint. I think it's going to be beautiful. It shows it to be just a bright green and white, like the kind of a yellow green, but not quite. So I think it's going to be just real showy and beautiful, and I hope it does well in this little pot, and it will be there every spring to greet me. This one has certainly done well in a pot. Of course, it also does well in the ground. Get over here where I can kind of show it to you. And this, look at this. Well, first of all, I guess I should show you a little better clip of the one that's in the ground that's doing well. But see this little impatient. This is the red star impatient. This one looks fairly good. This one back here, you can tell it's not looking all that well. And then these over here are on their way out. They've totally had it. I want to replace those. If I can find some more of that color, I'll even get the same color. Usually when I put these little red rock around it, that does help deter them too. Plus it gives them, of course, a little rock mulch. So, but it just didn't work, and I'll have to redo it. But I did put some things out here from the window. I cleared out, I think, 4 or 5 glasses from the window. This is one of the earth sign, this pretty bright red back here. And it hopefully, and I think it will, if it is able to make it through, it will grow up there and just be a little beauty. This tiny little begonia fell off of one of my other begonias, so I just put it in rooting powder and stuck it there. I don't know if it'll make it, but isn't it cute today? But all this beauty is awaiting me to put it in the ground. And I watered this, of course. And once I water it, and then that makes the concrete wet, and the snails will actually crawl across the concrete and get in here with these little plants. So I've got to get them in the ground and give them a better chance. Look at this. This is that Artemisia. I forgot the name of it. Oh my goodness. I don't know if it has it on here or not either. Let me take it. Oh yes, it does. It does. So it's silver brocade Artemisia, and this is perennial. It's just like having a perennial dusty miller. And I know some of them come back, but not all of them come back. Rarely do I get one to come back and be pretty enough to keep. I'll go ahead and get a new one usually to replace it. But this is beautiful. I had one once before. It lasted for several years, and then I think my pot just stopped draining really well. It drained fine for some of the other things I had in there, but my little Artemisia, mounding Artemisia, just didn't make it. So, but this is beautiful to me. I love it. I love this color. You can see I got some more. I got some more of the Dusty Miller to replace some of the ones that died out, and they are not hard to do. It's just that I think I got some. I got a different kind of plant food, and I think I put too much on it and burned them. That's what I think happened there. But anyway, I'd like to get these, and I got another Calabacoa. I love these Calabacoa mini bells. I love them so much, but you know, I think I know I got 3 and 2 of them died, and then I think I got another couple, so I think I ended up with 5, and only one of them is alive right now. Look at this little detail looking so great this morning. I love this little penny. I already told you. It's my second best favorite one. I was thinking earlier that, well, I might just move this little plant stand in this little pot, or this medium-sized pot, because I've got all these dahlias out here and I don't need that there. And then I remembered why I put it there to begin with, because the dahlias, I dig those up the end of September, or usually not until October do I get these up. They're just looking great about that time. So, but anyway, I want to leave that there, because when the dahlias are gone, I'll still have something that'll look pretty here, and that's actually why this pot is over here also, and this one that's over here. So it'll give it some interest when the dahlias are gone, and they're not even, well, they're barely coming up. Not all of them are even coming up, but you can see there's one right here coming up. So, and I'm still having trouble with these hoses, getting them where I can use them. I was so expecting a break from watering, but no, that really hasn't happened, although I didn't water yesterday other than my little seedlings. I want to keep those wet, but even some of my new plants, that, like this one right here, are beginning to need it too. Let's see if I have the right one, if I may not be on the, yeah, that's it right there. So I want to be sure they get it. Look, this little blue star insomnia that my friend Susie gave me is blooming. It's looking good. The red Wilgela, or Wigelia, I don't know how to pronounce that, or many other things you've probably noticed, but I'm certainly enjoying them anyway, even if I can't pronounce them. Look, there's still one of those little Ito poppies blooming. Peonies. This is a peony, not a poppy. Oh, I wish I had this little pot filled out so it could just be a beautiful backdrop for that, all those pretty little spring blooms. So also I've been thinking about doing maybe some seeds in this little pot that'll be taller. I've been putting shorter things here, but they get covered up, or at least you can't see around the taller plants to see them that much. So I'm thinking I might plant some like zinnia seeds or something that'll grow up tall where you can enjoy this one. And of course I want to put some little nursery plants in this pot as well as the one right behind it there. And maybe some seeds too, but definitely need to get those going so they'll be pretty and not bare. Oh, look, this little peony is blooming today. This is the one I was telling my daughter about, that I had to cut a piece off of one of them, and I'm going to give it to her, and I think she's going to love it. And I heard yesterday on one of the gardening shows from a Michelle from TLC, and I've been enjoying watching some of hers. Whenever I eat, I'll stop and take a break long enough to do that and hear some of it. But she said you can cut some of the side shoots of your peonies off where the buds are, and the other bud will be bigger. I love those great, big, beautiful blooms that I'm really sad to see any bud go. So I have a hard time making myself do that too. But either way, they're beautiful. So I was going to get some roses started for my niece Lacey, and I couldn't think of what the one of them was, but when I saw this I remembered. So I want to get her a start of this at some point. I'm trying to start some just with rooting powder, but I may have to wait until it grows a little, puts out a little one away from the mother plant and take that off that has its root. Those are usually the best way to start them, the quickest and most sure that they will actually go ahead and work. But sometimes I can get them to go from just a cutting, so I'll try. And I did remember that this is one that she wanted, but today it's blooming, so you can see what it looks like. And I'm seeing that some of the yarrow is blooming also. My little pink Wilgula bush is still looking great, although I can tell it's losing a lot of its pink. Soon it'll be just a little green bush, and you'll have to look back at the pictures to see just how beautiful it was in the spring. Oh, and I'm seeing my little really dark clematis has a bloom on it. Actually has 3 blooms on it, but this, oh, there's one back there, 4, but this one is the biggest, I believe. And my little hardy geranium is blooming this morning too. There's some bloom on the mock orange. Look what I almost missed. Oh, I'm glad I didn't totally miss this. How pretty. So I put a few more little succulents or sedum in this little pot, and we'll see how it will do. My Chinese dunce cap didn't come back in this pot very well, but a little bit did, and I put a few more in there, and then a few more little clippings in there too, and I think this will fill this pot out and be fine. I decided not to put a bunch of annuals in it. It just doesn't hold enough water, and I think it'll be pretty like this and easier, but I did go ahead with this one. It's deep enough, I think, and so I put some annuals in it. This is the annual red salvia that the hummingbirds love. They'll probably love this too. This is the New Guinea impatiens, and it's also called a sun impatient or sun patience, but mine, I just do better in at least some shade. And I put a little bit of alyssum, white alyssum there with it, so we'll see how this will go. She's looking good right now. And I did over here, see if I can get to it without actually walking over there, because I've got one more pot I want to fix up. So this is going to be in a hurry, I think. Do you see this tomato cage? Well, I planted a tomato there, and then all around it I put some yellow marigolds. So the insects should come to the marigolds and pollinate my tomato, and every year I hope to have tomatoes, and never do I, but there's always a first time, I hear. First time for everything. And I just showed you this little pot, but I did also put some annuals in here, just a few of these pretty impatiens for pretty color. I thought it needed some color. Now this will be color in the fall, because it will turn pretty fall colors. This sedum or stonecrop will, and then this is just a pretty little green, but it is pretty. And then I put a coleus in there too, so this should be pretty if it makes it through the heat of summer, because it's in a little pot without much soil or much room to hold water, but hopefully it'll still work fine. And if it doesn't, I do have the succulents in there, and if these little impatiens die out beside it, it won't be as bright and beautiful, but it will still be green and alive and not just an empty pot. I started to just put succulents in it, but I couldn't resist adding some color here at the front door. I'm still hoping for rain tonight. We do still have a chance. This is supposed to be our 3 days of soaking rains, but that's kind of been called off, and we only have one more chance of it. So, but hopefully we will get it tonight. It's been looking rainy all day, so surely it'll come in for us. I'm hoping, praying. So we will see. Look at this Russian sage. It's looking so good. I'm glad it came back in that pot. The one over in the closer to the front of the house, I don't think it's alive. Sometimes in pots they just, I guess their little their roots either get too dry or too wet, so, or they could just be not having enough protection through the winter months. But whatever, this one did great. The other one I'm pretty sure is dead, and I'll probably put something different in there this year. This is some little volunteer returns from last year on the alyssum, and doesn't it look sweet? Please be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.